So what I'm gonna do is just let you play around for as short as you want.
Okay.
My desk where I will be sitting, so I'm not just looking over your shoulder.
Sorry.
While you do it, is just right here. So I'll see you when you come out, but I'll just
Okay,
be sitting
perfect.
there. And then I'll come back here. We can talk about what you found. And
Okay, is there like a certain time?
No, you have
like-
as long or as short as you want. So
Okay.
We're interested also in how long
Okay,
you
cool.
want to spend doing it. So here it is.
So as if I'm actually trying to do it, like,
Yeah.
spend that much time.
Yeah,
Okay.
or till you feel like you got whatever you want out.
Okay, cool.
So this stuff, you just don't click those links. Most of those are dummy pages or just editor
Gotcha.
information. So here it is. And do you have any questions?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay, awesome. I'll see you when you're done.
Okay, cool.
Pitching is one of the most important skills you'll need as an entrepreneur because you are going to be pitching and selling all of the time, not just to investors. That's a small fraction of your pitching effort. You'll be pitching to customers, employees, recruits, potential partners, even to your friends. During this jolt, you'll learn a framework for structuring a compelling story that your audiences will want to hear and respond to, regardless of who you're talking to, the situation you're in, or the time available. You'll have a consistent story you can tailor for live presentations, your website, emails, and anything else. My name is Teresa Lina Stevens. After 20 years of helping technology companies stand out in crowded markets, I can tell you from experience that most pitches fall short of their potential, not because the person or the concept is weak, but because the pitch doesn't engage the audience. The purpose of a pitch is to elicit interest and some kind of action from your audience. Instead, many pitches are boring or confusing, which is common with technology pitches, or the pitch turns people into skeptics who doubt the viability of the offering. Your goal is to get the audience to want more and to take the next step. That's it. You do this by getting them emotionally invested. If you succeed, they will want to take positive action. This is a mindset shift that's very important. You're not trying to throw it out there for them to catch. No one likes to have things thrown at them. Instead, you're trying to entice them to listen and want more. In fact, if you think about it, pitching is an inappropriate metaphor. Instead, think fishing. Bait them, hook them, and reel them in. An enticing pitch has 3 parts. At its most basic, your pitch first needs a dramatic storyline. This is the core structure for the content of your pitch, regardless of the length, audience, or situation. Once you have that, you incorporate provocative hooks. You use these to grab and keep your audience's attention for the duration of your pitch. The third layer is an engaging delivery. Not just the way you talk about your pitch, but also the sensory packaging that brings your pitch to life and makes it memorable. These are the 3 components that lead to emotional investment and to a successful pitch. This jolt contains a section on each. By the end, you'll have a new, more compelling version of your pitch. Once you become more proficient, you'll see what a powerful difference great pitching can make in your career and day-to-day life. Enjoy. When giving a business pitch, you have to put yourself in the audience's shoes. They've heard it all, and they're likely to be skeptical when you start talking about your solution. Therefore, your strategy should be to take them on a journey toward your solution so that by the time you get there, they're primed for it. Here's how you do it. Use the same time-tested dramatic arc that has captivated audiences for centuries in literature, politics, pop culture, and even in business. A dramatic arc has three parts: a problem or conflict to start, a buildup of tension to the point where any resolution seems impossible, and then a climactic resolution. How does this translate into a pitch?
So I paused one of the videos and tried to go to different, like rewind it, and it won't let me restart it. I'm not sure if.
I'm sure there's something. It's not you. I'm sure.
Okay, I think I've seen
Yeah.
this happen before. Let's just restart the page.
Okay, I don't know if I refreshed it.
Oh
if
yeah,
it would-
yeah. You're fine.
Okay,
Let's see if it works now. Okay.
okay. Can I jump
Yeah, yeah.
to?
How you do it.
Aha.
Talking about
Yeah.
your
Okay, cool.
start
So just
pausing.
refresh.
I
Therefore,
think
your
that the
strategy
developers
should
know
be
about
to
that.
take
Okay,
them
cool.
on a journey
Awesome.
toward your solution, so that by the critical, when you start captivated audiences for centuries in literature, politics, pop culture, and even in business. A dramatic arc has three parts: a problem or conflict to start, a buildup of tension to the point where any resolution seems impossible, and then a climactic resolution. How does this translate into a pitch? Well, you use the why, what, how message framework, which I created years ago as part of the Apollo method for market dominance. You need to state, you use the why, what, how climactic a problem or conflict to start, a buildup of tension to the point where any resolution seems impossible, and then a climactic resolution. How does this translate into a pitch? Well, you use the why, what, how message framework, which I created years ago as part of the Apollo method for market dominance. You need to state why there is a problem, what needs to be done about it, and how you've solved the problem. Why there is a problem. This is your setup. Note that you don't just say it's a problem, but you explain why it's a problem in a way that resonates with your audience. For example, the problem with today's small business collaboration suites is that they can actually reduce productivity because the right target audience will want to hear the rest of this sentence because you've baited and hooked them with dramatic tension. Next, you bring up what needs to be done about it. This is the buildup. Here's where you start taking them down a path and priming them for your solution. For example, what companies need instead are tools that notice that up to this point, you're being informative, not self-serving. You haven't been talking about yourself at all. Instead, you're educating them with relevant, valuable information. You're also building credibility and trust as an authority on the topic. When possible, preempt objections and alternatives here by confronting them head on. For example, you might say, now you might be thinking, don't cloud collaboration tools already do that? Well, not quite, because, and so forth. And last, the how you've solved the problem. This is your resolution, your unique approach. It's your opportunity to talk about your secret sauce and differentiate your offering. The key in this structure is the what. This is what so many people leave out. Yet, when done well, your audience is almost begging for the how by the time you get to it, and your solution makes perfect sense to them. So use your what to reel them in. If there is one thing you take away from this entire jolt, it's this point. Put the what before the how and make it good. Present your solution only after they're fully primed for it. Let's walk through a straightforward example so that you can see how the buildup works using just 3 sentences. First, our why. 1 billion people worldwide don't have access to clean drinking water because their impoverished communities lack the necessary infrastructure. Our what. What's needed is an inexpensive way to purify the water these areas already have without needing electricity or the maintenance of moving parts. Our how. We have developed LifeStraw, an inexpensive straw that a person can use to safely drink from any water source for up to a year. Now, most people are going to hear that and be surprised and intrigued and want to know more. Mission accomplished. You've gotten them emotionally invested and curious. When building your own storyline, start with a sentence for each section, like I did. Once you have that, play with it to adapt it to your venue, audience, or time frame. You can get it down to 30 seconds or even just a tweet. Or if you have 20 minutes, you'll want to elaborate in areas that warrant it. Ultimately, this why, what, how structure will help you bait them, hook them, and reel them in. Hi, this is Teresa Linus Stevens. You're going to learn a lot in this jolt, but if you really want to be blown away, start by capturing your before pitch so that later you can compare your after to it and really see the contrast. Don't worry about trying to apply anything you've learned so far. You'll do that later. For now, just capture the pitch the way you've always done it. Videotape a 1-minute version of any pitch you've done, whether it's an idea, something you're trying to motivate others to do, maybe it's something you've tried to sell in the past, or even yourself as a job candidate. No one ever has to see this. On the other hand, when you're done with this jolt and have your after, I'd love to have you share them with us side by side so that we can see the amazing transformation. Make it fun. What I'd like to do in this little unit is take you through another why, what, how example, but I also want to show you how you can sort of bend the framework to adapt to the amount of time or the amount of space you might have. So in this example, what I'm going to do is take you through an example for Respira. You'll learn a little bit more about what that is in one moment. We'll first look at how you would put it in the why, what, how structure or framework, and then we'll look at how you would boil it down to one sentence, And then we'll look at how you would boil it down to just a tweet. So first I'll start by saying that this is based on a product that was originally conceived at a class here at Stanford, and it's in a class in the D School for Affordable Design. So it's a very clever, innovative product that they came up with. And one of the founders was very generous in allowing me to use it as an example here. So first let's look at the why, what, how. Before I start, yes, a hook. The hook that I just came up with kind of quickly, just as an example for an opening hook, we save children one piece of paper at a time. So hopefully you're a little curious now as to what that could possibly mean and want to hear the next bit of information. Let's look at our why, what, how. Why they have a problem, what they should do about it, how we've uniquely solved the problem. The problem for children with asthma in third world countries is that the special child-sized spacers they require for inhaling medication are far too expensive to provide, and many children suffer and even die as a result. So again, I'm putting this in 3 sentences, the why, what, how into 3 sentences. Obviously, if you're giving a pitch and you have more time, or if the audience wants to go deeper, you could then elaborate under each of these. But for now, it's just 1 sentence on each item. What these countries need is an affordable device that's also easy to use and distribute to remote areas. So now we've set up what we need. Hopefully the audience or even you are saying, well, yeah, that sounds great in concept, but surely they've gotten these things they've kind of started producing these things as cheaply as they possibly could. How could it get any better? Also, beware that in this particular instance, we're assuming that people know what a spacer is, but basically it helps for people who have asthma, it helps them with inhaling their medication. We kind of worked that into the why as a backup in case we're talking to an audience that isn't familiar with this issue. How we've uniquely solved the problem. We've created an elegant solution called Respira, an asthma spacer made out of a single folded sheet of paper at a tiny fraction of the cost of regular spacers, which stacks flat for easy, high volume transport anywhere. So that's our why, what, how. Now let's see what we could do to get this down into 1 sentence. First of all, this is what it looks like. I thought you might be interested. Really innovative. I think based on the website, it says they can produce these for about 25 cents a piece versus $50 that it costs for normal spacers. And in fact, go to their website. It's a very interesting story, and they have some great information to elaborate on the need for these. So let's boil it down. Why? For asthmatic children in poor third world countries who need access to more affordable life-saving spacers, and I put this text in blue-black because it's a little bit of a combination of the why and the what, that are cheap and easy to distribute. Respira is a child-sized spacer made from a single sheet of paper. I could have inserted a comma there after distribute. If we have any grammar police out there, I admit to my crime here. Okay, so now how would we get this down into a tweet? Well, let's look. Save poor asthmatic children in remote areas with spacers that are cheap and easy to distribute. Respira, the child-sized paper spacer. So let's go back and look. That's our why. That's our what. That's our how. That's it. So what I'd like to do in this little and see if you can tweet it. Have fun. Then get it to a sentence, and then get it to a sentence. And in the core video, I took you through the LifeStraw example to show you how to apply the why, what, how structure to a pitch. I thought I'd take you through another example that has a few different little twists on it, just to give you a sense of, a couple of the different things you can do with the why, what, how. And I've picked a kind of a pretty typical entrepreneur's pitch off of this web TV show called Elevator Pitch on YouTube. You'll find it. It's provided by Media Bistro. And this is Mo Lamb. He graciously gave me permission to use his pitch as an example and transform it. So what I'll do is I'm going to play the YouTube video. Then I'll show you the transcript of what he says, so you can kind of get a sense of it again. And then what I'm going to do is show you a totally different, basically a transformation of this pitch into the why, what, how structure. And then we'll talk about some of the thinking behind, or my rationale behind the approach I take. So let's take a look at this.
Whoa. Hi, great to meet you. Great to meet you as well.
Two Chop, I love the name.
Oh, thank you.
So what's the pitch?
So Two Chop is a content gamification system. What we seek to do is to add a layer of game to any content-oriented website, like a blog, for example.
So how'd you come up with the idea?
So in my previous life, I was actually a venture capitalist over at Hearst Interactive Media, which is actually the venture capital arm of the Hearst Corporation. My primary job was to identify interesting trends that's going on within the space that could potentially impact the Hearst Corporation. So one of the trends that we identified was gamification.
Okay, let's look at a transcript of what he said so that you can see it again and familiarize yourself with it. Two Chop is a content gamification system. My previous life, I was actually a venture capitalist, then we identified gamification. A new version, and this is a complete transformation. Now, one of the things that I decided to do is this case of where you would apply this so that we could make it real in the eyes of the, or in the minds of the person who's listening. So, the why. Gaming is killing TV the way internet is killing newspapers. Now, what we've done here is we've talked about a problem. In this case, I felt that many people are going to relate to the fact that internet is killing newspapers, and it's shorthand for a lot of things going on that are a problem, and that by applying this and providing it as an analogy for what gaming is doing to television, for many people, particularly in business, they're going to quickly get the concept. So this one sentence is very packed with information. But he could elaborate if he decided to, or if he needed to with that particular audience. Then we bring in a little hook. It doesn't have to be that way. So the hope is that the person wants to hear, well, oh, that's interesting, you think you have a solution for this. So the what. What if your media company could cash in on the $7 billion social gaming trend by quickly turning your TV show websites into social games that generate cash and viewer engagement? So I decided to pick one particular area that this stuff would apply to, TV shows, since it's a big issue, and enticing them with the market opportunity, the revenue opportunity for actually making money off of their TV show websites. Then we say the how. Two Chop is helping media companies like Hearst do this with a simple platform that automatically turns any website content into interesting games people pay to play. So here we say, here's what we do. After we've created an understanding of what the problem and need is and what the opportunity could be if you could cash in on this. So that's the new version of the pitch. We reel them in a little bit more by saying, would you like to hear how it works? So hopefully you engage them in a continuing conversation about how this works and what's involved. The audience for this pitch would be, ideally a television industry executive, and obviously you could pick a different use case depending on who you're talking to. All right, so hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of how you would transform one pitch into the why, what, how framework.
Hello, everyone.
Miss Horatio Harts. I'm especially happy to be here today, not only because I was in prison for 8.5 years, but also because I'm here representing the last mile. My life dramatically changed when I made a commitment to my family and myself to maximize my time.
In 12 seconds, we can save 571,000 trees per year without leaving our houses. The data tells us that 13% of your revenue could evaporate at any moment. Here's why. This simple habit could prevent millions of kids' deaths. How do you instantly make your pitch more interesting? Use hooks. With any pitch, you only have a few seconds to grab your audience's attention. Provocative hooks are the second layer of great pitching, and they do just what it sounds like. They get the audience to latch onto what you're saying and hang on for what's next. There are many types of hooks. You can offer up a shocking statistic or a teaser about what your company does or pose a question. You can also start sentences with introductory, teasing, or transitional phrases such as, "This is counterintuitive, but," or "I was really surprised to learn that," or "I've got good news and bad news." You want to start with a hook, but also weave hooks throughout your pitch, especially in places where you could potentially lose the audience. Let's watch a few hooks in action. All of these clips are from TED Talks. The full versions are in the helpful links section, and you can find more at TED.com. Here's one example.
Sadly, in the next 18 minutes when I do our chat, 4 Americans that are alive will be dead through the food that they eat.
Did you notice how Jamie Oliver grabs the audience's attention with a statistic before he has even introduced himself? He puts such conviction into it. Watch for the little gesture at the end where he slaps his cards against his hand for effect. The drama and content of his opening makes you want to know more, and it lends him credibility. This next one is of Daniel Pink.
I need to make a confession at the outset here. A little over 20 years ago, I did something that I regret. Something that I'm not particularly proud of. Something that in many ways I wish no one would ever know, but that here I feel kind of obliged to reveal. In the late 1980s, in a moment of youthful indiscretion.
See how effective a hook can be? Let's continue on. If you really want to see the rest, you can find it in the helpful link section. Next is Jill Bolt Taylor's famous TED Talk, My Stroke of Insight. We'll skip to where she's talking about thought processes that the left side of the brain controls, and then watch her drop a bomb.
And as soon as my left hemisphere says to me, I am, I become separate. I become a single, solid individual, separate from the energy flow around me and separate from you. And this is a portion of my brain that I lost on the morning of my stroke. On the morning of the stroke.
What all of these examples have in common is that you can't help but want to know where the speaker is going next. You feel compelled to turn the page, listen to the next sentence, click on the link, and so forth. Now it's your turn. Brainstorm some hooks for your pitch and then try them out on people who don't know about the content of your pitch. See which hooks make them want to know more. Remember, grab their attention and make them curious. It's very, very important that a pitch touch your audience emotionally. This is what gets them invested and prone to action. A dramatic storyline and great hooks alone might get you there, but there is one more layer that can make the difference between great and downright unforgettable pitches. The delivery of your message, how you package your ideas so that they're not just a sequence of words, but an experience. For a successful delivery, first and perhaps most importantly, you must customize the content, length, and elements of your pitch to the audience. This is crucial. If the audience feels that they're getting a canned pitch, or if the material doesn't resonate with them, they'll tune out. The pitch must also answer, what's in it for me? The sooner it does that, the better. This will be running through the audience's mind, and they will never fully engage unless you answer it. Another one is use the rule of threes. Our minds like to think about 3 things at a time. So organize your messaging and content in groupings of 3. Use examples and anecdotes. They make abstract concepts concrete, and they help your audience relate to what you're talking about. This will bring your content to life and make it stick. When money is involved, such as when you're talking to customers or investors, the pitch structure may need to change to why, what, how, and how much. Customers want to know cost and return on investment, or ROI. And investors want to know about the market, competition, revenue, margins, etc. They're evaluating ROI as well. How much are they going to make from an investment in you? Think of this as a corollary to what's in it for me. Now, pitching to investors does have its nuances. I won't get into them here, but you can hear VCs share a few of them in the supplemental resources. Also, appeal to all of the senses. This will deepen emotional engagement. Use props and other compelling visuals to bring your story to life and make it memorable. Even smells, sounds, touch, all of that can be appropriate at times. This is why demos are so powerful. Take the LifeStraw example. You could bring out a bowl of water, dump some mud into it, stir it around, and then proceed to drink from it with the LifeStraw. Now that's an image your audience will never forget. There are many, many ways to make your pitch truly remarkable. Check out some additional tips in the supplemental materials and get creative. I will leave you with this. Know each layer of a great pitch. Study successful pitches and practice making your own memorable experience. Most of all, have fun.
So I grew up in Limpopo, on the border of Limpopo and Mpumalanga, little town called Mutetema. Water and electricity supply are as unpredictable as the weather. And growing up in these tough situations, at the age of 17, I was relaxing with a couple of friends of mine in winter, and we were sunbathing. The Limpopo sun gets really hot in winter. So as we were sunbathing, my best friend next to me says, "Man, why doesn't somebody invent something that you can just put on your skin and then you don't have to bath? And I sat and I was like, man, I'd buy that, eh? So I went home and I did a little research and I found some very shocking statistics. Over 2.5 billion people in the world today do not have proper access to water and sanitation. 450 million of them are in Africa and 5 million of them are in South Africa. Various diseases thrive in this environment, the most drastic of which is called trachoma. Trachoma is an infection of the eye due to dirt getting into your eye. Multiple infections of trachoma can leave you permanently blind. The disease leaves 8 million people permanently blind each and every year. The shocking part about it is that to avoid being infected with trachoma, all you have to do is wash your face. No medicine, no pills, no injections. So after seeing these shocking statistics, I thought to myself, okay, even if I'm not just doing it for myself and the fact that I don't want a bath, I at least need to do it to try to save the world. So with my trusty little steed, my Nokia 6234 cell phone, I didn't have a laptop, I didn't have internet much, except for the 20 Rand an hour internet cafe. I did research on Wikipedia, on Google about lotions, creams, the compositions, the melting points, the toxicities. I did high school science. And I wrote down a little formula on a piece of paper, and it looked like the KFC special spice, you know? So I was like, okay, so we've got the formula ready. Now we need to get this thing into practice. Fast forward 4 years later, after having written a 40-page business plan on the cell phone, having written my patent on the cell phone, I'm the youngest patent holder in the country, and I can't say any more than that. I had invented Dry Bath, the world's first bath substituting lotion. You literally put it on your skin and you don't have to bath. So after having tried to make it work in high school with the limited resources I had, went to university, met a few people, got it into practice, and we have a fully functioning product that's ready to go to the market. It's actually available on the market. So we learned a few lessons in commercializing and making Dry Bath available. One of the things we learned was that poor communities don't buy products in bulk. They buy products on demand. A person in Alex doesn't buy a box of cigarettes, they buy one cigarette each day, even though it's more expensive. So we package Dry Bath in these innovative little sachets. You just snap them in half and you squeeze it out. And the cool part is, one sachet substitutes one bath for 5 Rand. After creating that model, we also learned a lot in terms of implementing the product. We realized that even rich kids from the suburbs really want Dry Bath, at least once a week. Anyway, we realized that we could save 80 million liters of water on average each time they skipped a bath, and also we would save 2 hours a day for kids who are in rural areas, 2 hours more for school, 2 hours more for homework, 2 hours more to just be a kid. After seeing that global impact, we narrowed it down to our key value proposition, which was cleanliness and convenience. Dry Bath is a rich man's convenience and a poor man's lifesaver. Having put the product into practice, we're actually now on the verge of selling the product onto a multinational to take it to the retail market. And one question I have for the audience today is, on the gravel roads of Limpopo, with an allowance of 50 Rand a week, I came up with a way for the world not to bath. What's stopping you? I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. And another key thing that I learned a lot throughout this whole process, last year Google named me as one of the brightest young minds in the world. I'm also currently the best student entrepreneur in the world, the first African to get that accolade. And one thing that really puzzles me is I did all of this just because I didn't want to bath. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Matt Leader, founder of InShare TV, which is a new out-of-home media service. InShare TV was created to address one simple but universal problem. Everyone hates going to the dentist. Here's the business we've built to solve this problem. We entertain and distract dental patients during procedures by showing them TV and movies on a personal video.
All right. So, what did you think overall?
I thought it was really cool overall. I liked how everything was kind of contained in this one space.
Mm-hmm.
And anything I clicked on opened up in a new link, so that was really nice.
Did you have any particular issues? Besides, I know the pausing.
I mean, there's like really minor things if you want me to like go through and. Like,
Well, if you say them in the video, I can always see them. From
Oh, okay.
But it's
So
up to you, yeah.
yeah, so I think one of the videos it said it was like a 1 minute pitch or something.
Mm-hmm.
Hook. There was something that said it was a 1 minute thing, and it was like a 54-minute TED Talk. And so I was like, oh, where are we supposed to go in here?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I refreshed the page, it didn't obviously, like, I'm assuming if I have my own account, it'll save the check marks. But I actually really liked that I felt like I was completing things as I went along. I mean, I just like that kind of stuff, like Codecademy does that also, you know. And I like the feeling of, okay, I did that, like, yes, like, going to the next thing. But when I refreshed the page, like, they all disappeared, but I'm assuming, like, if you have your own login or whatever, it might not. So it's basically, like, refreshed it and started over.
Yeah, normally they should stay.
I think
But
in the
know.
beginning,
Or
yeah,
a
like
couple of
these,
them were.
yeah,
Huh, that's interesting.
weren't there.
Okay.
And then, oh, it might have been this one. Let's see. Oh, yeah, 54. Yeah, and so I was confused about that. And then just little things with the videos. And then there was one video, it might have been the first one, that gave credit to Oliver, the TED Talk, but I don't think he was until a later video.
Oh, in the description?
In the end, like, credits.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it actually was in this, I want to say it was in this one. It was in like one of the very first ones that said Oliver something, and I saw the TED Talk later. Just because I'd seen that TED Talk, so I recognized it.
Yeah.
That's
a good point.
But yeah,
So you didn't do any of these reflection points or multiple choice quizzes?
I did the first few ones. I think maybe when I.
Oh, that's so weird.
So it lost a lot of stuff when it refreshed, huh?
Yeah, like I definitely did these.
Well, maybe that's just the settings on these computers. Oh, so you did. What did you think of that particularly reflection points? The reflection point.
I didn't get as much out of it as I think. Well, I see it as like a couple different things, right? So this is kind of like content is interesting, and then the check marks get me motivated to do something. But the question, and also make me want to keep going further and complete it. But the questions kind of don't help me at all.
Yeah, you didn't.
Yeah.
Did you find, so neither of these were helpful for you?
Yeah, so like it wasn't helpful content-wise, and it wasn't helpful like motivation-wise. So for me, it wasn't really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you find that this was confusing where you click on this and then you type something in? Did you do that?
I didn't click on it,
Oh, you
actually.
didn't? Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
I think, is there anything new that you noticed?
Well,
Yeah.
So,
So basically it said like record yourself for 1 minute, and then I
Yeah.
thought I was gonna be able to record it on the computer.
Yeah.
But then when it was like, oh, I have to take the effort out of like recording myself on my cell phone or something, so I didn't. So then I kind of like didn't do that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Also, I think I knew that. I think what what made the questions and the reflection point not interesting was that they were too easy. So I would have liked something more that to go back and like remember.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, like something a little more challenging.
Yeah.
Because this, like, I know I'm obviously rambling and disjointed, so so that wasn't helpful to me. But yeah.
Cool. And so, and did you watch this introduction video? Was that helpful?
Yeah, it was helpful. I'm probably the only person in the world who likes text over video, because I just like scanning for what is important to me. Really?
Yeah, number of
Okay,
people
because I feel like
that
so many people like videos, right? Like I don't even really. I get frustrated at YouTube, so I just like skip ahead.
Yeah.
I just don't like having. I don't know, something about 5 minutes of my time where I could just like looked at something. So, but when it came down to,
did you watch that whole?
I
video?
watched all the videos. Yeah.
Okay.
So I watched the whole video.
So you watched all of this, everything on the side.
Yeah, except for the 54-minute.
Did you go in order?
I went in order.
Okay.
I think I might have like skipped the very last of a couple, but I basically watched everything on here.
Oh wow.
I didn't watch some of the end stuff, like what I stopped right here, didn't watch this.
Okay. Did you find it was helpful, the material?
Yeah, I thought the material was really helpful. I think there's like a couple things that, like, again, for me, it's kind of like learning and then action, right? Like getting me to go do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was really good in the videos, the TED Talks and things that weren't your original content were really good in helping me go out and want to do my own pitch.
Mm-hmm.
But the content I thought was a little repetitive and a little like elementary. I thought it could have been a little more insightful or something that I hadn't. Maybe that's just because I've taken like classes on this.
Have you? So you're familiar with this material?
The general material, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably why.
Okay.
But listening to other people's pitch. Also, what I would have really liked was rather than asking us to, watch this and think about the what, how, or what, why, how, or yeah.
Why, what, how.
Yeah, why, what, how.
Yeah.
In there, it would have been really nice to be like, incorporate that in the question, right? So, what was his what was his why, what was his how, and then here's what we think, and here's, like, let's break it down in text. So so it forces us to actually think about it instead of glazing over it, because I think that's kind of like the most important point.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And did you think that this was the right amount? I mean, hard to tell without seeing other things, but did you think that this was the right amount of material on the page?
I think you guys did a really good job of organizing it so it doesn't feel overwhelming. I like that. I really like that it's all on one page. I think...
I mean, let me show you, for example.
Yeah.
This is one that just has one section.
Mm-hmm.
Would this be something that maybe you'd be more likely to like have 3 of these with one section instead of one of them with 3 sections?
I think if you had the one with one section, it would need some kind of like bar on the bottom, say you're 1 out of 3 complete or something. So you see the end. Yeah, so the end is in sight.
For this one, would you have wanted, I guess you said you wanted a little bit more, so would you have wanted like another section that went even farther? Or was this plenty of time?
Maybe not. I think that was the right amount of time. I don't think I would have like looked at it for much longer, but I think some of the content could be, or you could add more in some of your videos. I think the professor like repeated herself quite a bit.
In these
in the intro,
these videos like that she made, yeah.
Like,
cool.
Well, mainly the first and second one, yeah. And then also see like, it's kind of like a call to action. Oh, do this, but there's nothing getting me to do that. I would like to see if it says nose hooks all around you, and then maybe it's something. I would like to see an example of like a hook around me, so I could start thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I tend to just.
She didn't pitch her idea of pitching.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Any other questions that you have? I can stop the recording.